So this quick tutorial goes along with Module 3, Topic 3.4, Assessing the ePortfolios. Hopefully, whenever you begin to assess the ePortfolios, you incorporate all levels of assessment and then evaluation too. So to begin with, you want to start with a diagnostic assessment just to see if students know anything about creating a portfolio. Have they ever created a portfolio in a class before? Have they ever created a website before? Do they know how to use Weebly? And one way you can do that is by creating a Google form, and I'll show you how to do that really quickly. So you can go to New, More, and Google Form. Okay. And so you want to title it. So let's title it ePortfolio Survey. And so we want to add a response. Or, well, let's come first here and write our directions. So we can say, please complete the survey and then submit your responses. So the first question, have you ever created a portfolio before? So you can make it a multiple choice where they check, drop down. Let's just do drop down. So our first option will be yes, second option will be no. And then we can add another question. Have you ever created a website? And we'll do the same thing again. Drop down. Yes. No. Now, instead of creating another question, I want to do another one that's a drop down. All I have to do here is see where it says duplicate. I can do duplicate and just change the question. Have you ever used Weebly before? Okay. And if I want to, no, one of the things I want to do is go back here and make sure that I have clicked required because I want all of the questions to be answered. Now, if I want to get a little bit more in depth about content area, I could say, so let's say this is for an ELA class. You say, what are your strengths in ELA? And so I can change that to the short answer or paragraph. I'm going to just change it to short answer. And I can duplicate like I showed you before and change strengths to weaknesses. Let's come back and put the question marks in. Make sure we require it. Okay. And if I want to change the way it looks, I can come here, change it different color. I can also change this for ELA portfolio. We can add an image like that. And so once I'm finished, I can share it with my kids. So I can click on send. I can email it to them. I can link it in an email or on a Google Classroom page or on our Moodle page, or I can embed it on our class website. And it shows up there. Okay? So let's go back to talking about assessments in ePortfolios. So diagnostic assessments are first, and they're very important, and they tend to be the ones that teachers forget to do the most. I know I'm guilty of that. So once we start working on our ePortfolios and we start adding stuff to it, we can start doing formative assessments. So things like essays or presentations or videos or what podcasts, whatever you do within your unit, at that time you can formatively assess them, and that way you can offer feedback to the students as they go along, so they can improve, and they can either improve what they've already added to their portfolio, or they can add another assignment showing the same skill and showing how they improved, which might be a cool thing. After you formatively assess the student's portfolio, then you want to do a summative assessment. This is kind of like the big assessment for one aspect of the portfolio. So let's say they have to write a research paper, and that has to be in the portfolio. This is the big research paper. You have formatively assessed them, and they've added stuff to their research paper, or you have stuff in the portfolio about the research process. You've formatively assessed that. Now the summative assessment is the big final research paper that's going to be in their portfolio. Now, as you add a bunch, or as the students add a bunch of summative assessments within their ePortfolio, then you're going to evaluate the portfolio. This is the final thing. You are evaluating the portfolio, the entirety of it. So, and you're looking at, this is where you look to see, did they meet the learning goals, or the SLO, the student learning objectives, that you set out at the very beginning of the year? If they have, then you know that you can continue doing what you've been doing. If they haven't, then you know that you need to modify your instructions somehow. And so that's why the evaluation is important, because then you can use that to guide instruction later on. And you need this. One of the things I want you to see is, like this record, is that this is a cyclical process, the process of formatively or assessing and evaluating students. Because once you have evaluated the students, then you're going to go back to the diagnostic assessment to see what they learn and what they don't learn. Or you are assessing the students without even asking the students. You can assess the students just based on the feedback that they've given you. So I wanted you to see that this is a cyclical process of assessment and evaluation as it relates to the ePortfolio.